Hello and welcome to Raising the Bar, bringing you success stories of local people in Hong Kong, sharing different aspects of their life to inspire you to raise your own bar and to raise the standards of your life. So today we have the young and impressive Dan Wells. Dan Wells is a 23-year-old racing car driver who decided at the young age of 18 that he's going to pursue his dreams, become a race car driver. He was a top student in the UK. He decided to leave that all behind, and since then he's won 5 different races in the Formula Masters China series. So welcome, Dan.
Thank you very much.
Dan, could you start by giving us a brief synopsis of your story? What inspired you to pursue your dream and what's it been like for you so far?
Yeah, sure. It's been crazy really, because when I was a young boy, 4 years old, there's a picture of me in a little go-kart in my back garden. My back garden was, I could pretty much pedal about three steps along, and then I'd just pick it up and turn it around again. So I always had a passion for driving from a young age. Yeah. But due to family reasons, work, I never actually started racing. And I was 18 years old. I was studying politics and economics at college in the south of England, and I was sort of going to university, about to go to university to continue the studies at Warwick, and I was watching the European Grand Prix one afternoon, and I thought to myself, you know what, I want to be a Formula 1 driver. Wow. And a couple of months of persuading my dad that I can actually do this instead of go to university and continue a traditional, let's say normal route. Yeah. And it led to the first time I was sitting in a cart, and I was I think I'd done about 15 minutes in the cart one morning at Clay Pigeon in the south of England, and the team owner said to my father, like, "Oh, how long's he been karting?" And my dad said, "Well, what time is it now?"
Wow.
and that was the beginnings of it really.
Wow. So when you made the decision that you wanted to become a race car driver, did you have any experience at all at that time? Or it was just a feeling, this is what I want to do, let's go do it?
Yeah, it was, at the time, I knew from watching on television that I loved it. And I'd done a couple of karting events, like, you do for your 11th birthday party and things like this. But I'd never had, proper competitive experience. Wow. So what I did was, actually at college, I got the team I got a team together for the British Schools Karting Championship, and managed to get 3 guys together to go karting. And there was guys in there who raced national series and super competitive series, and I'd beaten them in my races. And I thought to myself, I'm talented, I love it. This is what I want to do for a career. And I'd had many things in the past, like for example, I played guitar and I did photography, and I really enjoyed it, and I was good at it. But I always felt like I was, for example, when playing guitar, I was playing a tab. I wasn't making music. Right. When I sat in a cart for the first time, yeah, it was that passion. That passion was completely there, and I was good at it. I felt like I was creating something which, not just copying someone else. Yeah.
Great. So you had support from the family, you had support from the environment. Yeah. Were there any mindset challenges that you had to overcome? Was there any fear of, would I really be able to do this? Is it the right decision? Or was there an alignment throughout? What was it like for you internally?
Yeah, I'd say using the word alignment is completely spot on really, because there's no fear, because at the age of 18, I could always go to university. You can go to university when you're 30, Yeah. There was no risk involved from my point of view. Right. I knew if I was going to be racing, then I always knew what I was going to do. The very first thing I did when I started racing was I wrote down 8 A4 pages and stuck them all together with sellotape and put it on my wall. I had Dan Wells Racing, and then drop downs of PR, marketing, racing, this, that, the other. And everything that I've written down, to this day, I'm still ticking them off. So there was no risk involved in it from my point of view. To anyone else, it looks crazy. Yeah. I'm top 10 in the UK for economics and politics, and trying to become a race car driver. One of the hardest, it's like saying you want to be an astronaut. Yeah. In many ways more difficult, because you need so much money, which we didn't have.
had you just do this at such a young age? How did you find this formula? How did you keep going?
I think it's because I was 18 and I was starting at that point. I knew how much I needed to catch up. So basically, I knew what I didn't have. Because I knew what I didn't have, I knew what I needed to get, and because I was risking resources and things. My family supporting me. I mean, the amount of time and effort and energy, I can't even begin to describe how many tens of thousands of hours have gone into. I mean, of actual driving. My time may be driving 0.01% of the time. The rest of it is working out the car to get in the car. So I mean, when it's that sort of thing, you need to be committed to it, and you need to do everything you possibly can. And a great example, I'd say, is at the weekend I was at Shanghai. It was the final race weekend of the season, and on the Saturday there were 2 races, and I finished 3rd in both races. Now, a podium is a great result. It's a fantastic result. For me, I went back to the hotel that night. It was the biggest underperformance of the year for me. Many technical reasons as to why, but the main reason was this in the mind. And so I went to sleep disappointed with myself, but determined.
Right.
And I did a full race visualization that night. So I did a 25-minute race in my head. I say in my head, I actually do the steering, the pedals, everything, sitting in my bed. The next day, I get up and I go to the circuit nice and early, nice and calm. I sit in the car, and there's photographers, there's fans, there's everyone all around. I close my eyes, put my headphones in, and I do exactly the same thing in the car for half an hour. Of course, my teammate looks at me like, this is interesting. I knew exactly what I was going to do. And the race started, and I was starting 3rd on the grid that day, on the Sunday, and managed to get 2nd in the first corner, and then by lap 5 I was in the lead. By lap 12 I'd won the race.
Wow.
And visualization, making sure that you've done everything you can before you get in the car, and seeing yourself at the top step of the podium. And I mean, it sounds very simple, but success is something which, as soon as you've had success, sometimes you can forget what the formula is, and you think, oh, well, I've won now, so I don't have to do that next time. You need to remember all the little things, and they can be the smallest things, but they all make the difference.
Wow, so visualization really has worked for you. And when you said that what didn't work for you the first time was this, was it that you didn't visualize that time, or what was missing in the mindset?
That's a good question as well, and I've asked myself that a few times. The first thing is that, because I'm an underfunded driver who can't afford to crash. So, for example, when you're following another car, if you're worried about, oh, I can't afford to crash, you're going to brake 10 meters earlier than you should, so that's one consideration. But then at the end of the day, I've shown I can make the best most daring overtakes, like I have this year. I mean, I've won Masters Pass for the Formula Master China Series a few times this year, so I can show I can do it regardless of that. So I was like, okay, that's one thing. And then I really twigged what it was when I spoke to a rival engineer on the Sunday night, and he said, Dan, when you are in mode, there is a Wells race, and then there's everyone else. When you're not in that mode, you're just following. And for me, I have to be absolutely relaxed. Very relaxed before I get in the car. I need to have done my visualization. I need to have done all the small processes, not superstitions, but all the small things. And when I turn up to a race circuit, the driver coach for a rival team said to me on the Sunday night, he said, when I saw you this morning, I knew you were going to win that race. And I've had the same feeling on the times I've won. I won 3 races this year, one of which was actually penalised, but so 2 legitimate wins, let's say. But both of them, I knew I was going to win them. And I think sometimes it's just that courage and acceptance as to, okay, I'm setting the intention level and the intensity level. This is what I want to achieve today. And I think other times I might have just shied away from that. You've got to believe in yourself 100%. And sometimes, even though through my career, there have been times when it gets knocked for circumstances. It can knock you. But the one thing I've taken away from the end of this year, I have massive potential. The potential I shown at the beginning of my career, which I thought, oh, maybe I've lost, maybe, you go through times when you don't have money, you can't drive, you can't do this. What I've realised is actually my potential is huge. If I harness that, there's a very good motivational clip on YouTube, which is, basically guys sort of saying we are stronger than, you can possibly imagine. Powerful beyond measure is the clip, powerful beyond measure. Yeah. And it's completely true.
That's very inspiring. I mean, your determination is extraordinary. Knowing what you want is just one thing, and then it's also that determination to keep it going. So it's not just like you get behind a car and okay, that's it. It's all the prep work that goes into it beforehand, the visualization. And I think what you've said is really, again, another testament that the inner world really affects the outer world. And the result is just a byproduct of what you've already felt, who you're being. So if you're being a winner, that's what you're going to produce. And if you're even in touch with a little bit of fear, that shows up. And for most people, it's not as testing because we don't have a few minutes to prove it. With you, well, you're right there, right? And if you miss that, it shows up.
Correct.
For you, what's your ultimate dream? Like, I know it's going to be Formula One. Have you timed it in your life? Do you know when you want to get there by? I know you spend a lot of time thinking about your vision, so could you share that with us?
Yeah, it's a very good point. The first time you use the word dream, the second time you use the word vision. I never like the word dream because a dream is something you wake up from. A vision is something that you have in your mind and you're able to produce in reality. And I mean, for me, Formula One is something I don't really talk about to other people because other people in most, everyone wants to be a Formula One driver. It's like if someone says, oh, I want to be famous. Well, of course, everyone does. Don't be silly. So you don't want to be sort of saying, oh, I want to be a Formula One world champion, I want to be doing this. But of course, my ultimate goal is to be Formula One world champion. It is to get to the top of motorsport because that is the highest level. And for me, due to funding reasons and everything, I had it written down for 2015. I think when I started, on my little piece of paper back when I was 18 years old at 4 o'clock in the morning, writing all these things down. And now I'm sort of looking in the region of 2016, 17. But at the end of the day, it might not happen. But that will be because something's better has come along. Anything that's happened in my life, which has been bad at the time, has happened because something better was coming. So 2013, I had a potential sponsor who said they were going to come on board. They're going to come on board. It's fine. It's fine. And then ignored me, and I was like, okay. And then they were like, oh no, we're not. And I was really annoyed at the time, really angry. And then 3 months later, someone from the same business sector came along, and the deal was much better. And I said to myself, I said, that if that had worked out, I wouldn't have got the good thing which was coming here. So so if it's Formula One or if it's World Endurance Championship, whatever it is, it's going to be the best for me.
That's amazing. I'm hearing 3 amazing things from what you said. Firstly, once again, it's the clarity of the vision, knowing what that vision is, and I loved how you differentiated between a dream and a vision. The second one is actually not being attached to it and being okay if it doesn't turn out. And the third one, which is most inspiring, is having that faith that it's because something better is going to come along. And I think that you couldn't have put it better, and you're not only knowing it in terms of the concepts, which so many of us know, but you're actually applying it. And you can see it happening in your life, actually being okay with it not happening. Because we can plan various things in our life, but one of the things that is constant is change. And we can't predetermine or have certainty about everything, so what are we going to do when things don't work out? I think what you do is brilliant, which is have that faith.
I think life is what happens to you when you're planning for other things. And when you're actually sort of in this environment and you're always setting goals. The main thing is to make sure you're always setting targets on a regular basis to be able to challenge yourself and push yourself further. And you know, if you're not doing that, then you're just standing still.
Yeah.
You know, you need to be you know, self improving all the time.
Mm.
And without that, you know, I think it's been a very exciting journey. But you know, letting go is a very important thing, because if you're intense, let's say you're very intense, you've got a goal and you've got a time limit, you need to do it. That can come across to people, and some people can be a bit
they
scared.
sense the desperation.
Correct.
Yeah.
Desperation. Exactly. Now, when I came here, I was desperate, you know, but I had people who they appreciated why, and they supported me, which was fantastic. Without those people, I wouldn't still be here now. But there's a time to push, and there's a time to pull. So like the allowing, you know, rather than trying to make things happen, pushing implies pushing it away from you. You know, it's like when you're in a race car, when you try and set a lap time, you don't get it. It's when you've switched off and you're just allowing things to happen. That's when the best things happen to you. Is to make sure you're in that mode as much as possible, in the present. You know, being in the present as much as possible, in the awareness, because so often nowadays with technology, for example, we're walking around, we're on our phones all the time, we're looking at our phones, even when we're with people on our phones. We're always, how often do we actually see, you know, the details on a building, or we look at the sky?
Yeah.
It's these small things which, in a race car, they do actually make a difference, but in ordinary life, and that's where, you know, yoga and meditation, these things help.
Yes.
And it helps with the clarity.
Okay.
It helps with the clarity. I used to use a diary on my computer. I type. The thing is, when you type things which you're thankful for and put goals and things like this, it's okay.
Yeah.
But there is a very different thing from typing and writing with a pen and paper. So recently I've changed from a laptop and I use a little notepad.
Yeah.
And you know, I'll give you a bizarre one from the weekend. I wrote down, basically before qualifying, and I said, I am relaxed, I am focused, I am determined, everything is prepared. I'm going to go out there and do a 1 minute 35.4, okay, which was actually 1.4 seconds quicker than the practice, right? But that's the time I wrote down.
Yeah.
Got to within 800ths of a second of what I wrote.
Wow.
And that's one of the things where, and it's happened to me before when I've done that. But that's where, you know, you can write something down and have a goal, but sometimes it's better not to, because you'd be like, well, I wrote that down. What if I wrote 1 minute 35.2? Would I have done that? What if I didn't write anything at all? You know, could I have actually been, am I just putting self-limiting beliefs?
Yes.
So, you know, you want to put high targets.
Yes.
Because otherwise, you know, you can slip back. But, you know, that's a very important thing, and making sure that, you know, when you are writing these things down, making sure that, you know what you're thankful for, you know what your targets are, and looking at that.
So gratitude, as you said, being well prepared, and the writing. Now, I don't know whether you're downloading this from the universe or where you get it from. We've spent so long researching to actually know what you know through life, right? The writing down is actually extremely powerful because it comes from the subconscious mind. And writing those things as you were doing are affirmations. And so they are going to be things that you're telling your mind, and your mind is going to serve you by embodying them because that's what you're writing down. And one of the things that we've learned is also say what you want, but leave the how and when to the universe. Right? So you're very clear on the what, and everything else is up to the universe as to when it's going to give it to you. Finally, I wanted to ask if you have any pearls of wisdom or advice that you would like to share with other people from your life, the lessons you have learned perhaps, or something that you would like to say for someone who wants to maybe achieve something and doesn't know how, or is unclear about what they want.
Okay, I mean, for example, if you're unhappy in your life at the moment, you know, it could be because of your job, it could be because of your family situation, you know, you might not think that you're valued enough. You know, you need to sort of sit down and say, okay, I mean, a lot of people can just sit down and moan. You know, they might love to moan about it actually, they might enjoy moaning, you know, they enjoy being unhappy.
Yeah.
You know, there are those sorts of people.
Yeah.
So you need to decide, am I the sort of person who's going to accept this, or am I going to do something about it?
Okay.
If you're the person who says, no, I'm going to do something about this, then you need to sit down with a pen and paper and just write down 20, 30 things about yourself. What do you believe about yourself? Okay. And from that, you'll gauge what you really do think about yourself. And if there's something that you don't like, you can change it.
How do you change it?
Well, for example, one of the things I'd say, and related to driving, is if you said to me right now, okay, Dan, close your eyes and visualize yourself in a race. Okay. Now, if I do that, you know, for a minute, and then I open my eyes, and you ask me the question of where were you on the grid? Were there cars in front of you, behind you?
Yeah.
If I said, oh, I was third, there's a very good chance I was third in reality.
Right.
Okay, and I did this with myself 2-3 months ago, and I was third in my head on the grid. I was pulling up in third spot. Well, if I'm thinking that, how am I ever actually going to be first? So I actually changed my visualization processes to make sure any time I visualized, I was always in the first spot. I always had a clear track in front of me. So that's the one thing, and so you know, you can change those little habits
by
about
changing
yourself.
it in your vision.
Correct,
Okay.
correct. So in the
Yeah.
visualization, making sure if there's something, you know, how you would react to a situation, for example. If you know you have a short temper and you get angry easily, you just need to visualize things happening to you. You know, someone walking in front of you on the subway, someone, you know, a car nearly knocking you over. Instead of your usual response to be angry, just be like, ah, that car didn't hit me. You know. Oh, that person stopped me, but you know, it could have stopped me being hit by that car, because if I'd have been 5 seconds quicker, then you know, I could reframe, content reframing, very important. And then so once you've got these things about you, then you know, if there's a goal in your life, if you've ever been the person who said, oh, you know, I always would have loved to have been a tour, you know, to travel the world. You know, if you say, oh, I've always wanted to travel the world, and you haven't, you never really wanted to do it. You know, and if you say, no, actually, I do, then figure out a plan. And once you figure out a plan, then you can work from that. And you know, my sister is a fantastic example of this, because like I looked up to my sister all the way growing up. Like she was the golden student, and I was the DE grade student, and she, you know, I found what I wanted to do at 18. She's still not quite there with what she wants to do. So when she asked me this question, you know, these are the sorts of things. But now she's finding, you know, and what she did was try new things. She went from just sitting at home drinking tea and watching Emmerdale to, you know, she went out dancing, she went out partying, she went out to different clubs, you know, social clubs, and she met so many different people and got so many different feedback, and she was able to be different people with the different, because if you're always with the same people, you act in a certain way. They have preconceptions about you, and then you will react into that situation. Whereas if you go somewhere they don't know you, you can be who you truly want to be. Because at the end of the day, when you wake up in the morning, you can decide who you want to be. I'm a great believer in that. You know, people say, oh, I'm one of the people who say, oh, I'll start on Monday. I'll start on Monday. Well, you know, a calendar is just a man-made construct, just time. We invented time. Time doesn't actually exist. You know, if there's a time to do it, it's now. You know,
absolutely. I mean, I can't believe that you're just 23 from all the things that I've heard you say. I have to say, I am truly inspired. I think what you have and who you are is absolutely amazing. The things that you've learned along the way, your determination, how you've applied everything in your life and you're using it to move yourself forward. You truly are a champion in every sense of the word. And I have no doubt that you will soar into different levels of success, and you will be an inspiration, continue to be an inspiration to everybody. So thank you so much.